Love, what are you making for the Super Bowl? What are you making for the Super Bowl? My goodness, this is the best lamb kebab I've ever eaten.
Oh, how about lamb kebabs? That's your favorite. Hi, and welcome back to Cooking with Alaksha. Today I'm so excited to show you how to make my husband's absolute favorite, lamb kebabs. This is a great appetizer, and in India they call it bites. They have it with beer, with whiskey, bourbon, but it's a great party pleaser and it's extra special for the Super Bowl. So this is how you make it. First, I'm going to use ground lamb. Lamb is very popular in India. People love lamb because it has a little more flavor to it. But of course, you can use ground turkey or chicken. It doesn't matter, whatever your preference is. But I'm going to use ground lamb. To this, I'm going to add a few spices. It's very simple, not a lot of items in this. You're going to have onion, one yellow onion or white onion. I'm going to have a whole bunch of cilantro. I'm going to use the stem and everything because that's where all the flavor is. So one bunch of cilantro. We're going to have 6 cloves of garlic. Then we have about a 2-inch piece of ginger, fresh ginger. And I like mine spicy, so I have about 6 chilies, medium-sized green chilies. You can always reduce the amount of chili if you like, but this gives it a nice little kick and bite to it. And then of course we're going to season it with some salt and some chaat masala. This is something that you can always get in an Indian store. If you don't get this in an Indian store, you don't have to have it. It doesn't matter, you can always omit that. But that's going to give it a nice flavor. Okay, so first, I'm going to actually chop my onions. You don't want very big chunks of onions coming in your mouth when you make the kebabs. So it's going to be finely chopped in the blender, but not pureed, because then you don't want all that water to come out. That's going to make the kebabs very, very soft and difficult to handle. So I'm going to put this onion in here. Next, I'm going to chop the cilantro. What I have realized is when I put the onion at the bottom and the cilantro on top, it mixes much better. Otherwise, the cilantro just gets stuck in the blade at the bottom. So always try to put the cilantro on top and use the stems if you can, because that's where all the flavor is. So I'm just roughly chopping this. I'm going to put it in my blender. Actually, this is a lot of onion, so I'm going to do it in 2 batches. All right. Okay, so a quick chop. Oops, I need to plug it in first. All right, ready. Let's see how it looks. Okay, you see how it looks? That's how you want it. You don't want it pureed way too much, otherwise it's going to get way too soft. This, it might seem like it's a lot of onions and cilantro, but trust me, it's going to give it some really good flavor and make the kebabs very tender. All right, there we go. That's perfect. Oh, it smells so good. You can smell the freshness of the cilantro, the onions. The cilantro gives it this really fresh, lemony flavor and aroma, so that's really nice. Okay, next we're going to add some fresh ginger, garlic, and chilies. And I'm going to just chop this ginger to small pieces so it's easy to grind up and everything gets blended really well. So we have ginger. We'll chop up some garlic into smaller pieces, or you can just throw it in if you like, it doesn't matter. This just makes it a little bit quicker. You always put equal parts of ginger and garlic. At least try to. That way you get a balance of flavors. Okay, I'm going to cut these these chilies. I'm going to cut these chilies really small and put these in as well so it blends really well. Okay, so basically this is how it looks. Now to this I'm going to start whizzing it, and then I'm going to add a little bit of water so it makes it easy. I'll add just a little bit of water. So get that going. You want it nice and smooth. I think it's going to need a little bit more. All right, let's have a look. Oh yeah, you see? That's a combination of fresh ginger, garlic, and fresh green chilies. Okay, so I'm going to add this. I'm going to add all of this in my lamb. So do you see how simple this was? It's just onions, fresh cilantro, ginger, garlic, and chilies. Okay, now to this, I am going to add a little chaat masala. This gives it that really tangy, salty, umami flavor. So if you can find this in an Indian store, that would be great. Try to find it. You can also make this at home. So I'm putting 2 pinches. If you don't have chaat masala and you can't go to an Indian store, then you can always add a little bit of cumin and salt. And then once it's cooked, then you can put some lemon or lime on top, and that'll still give it the same kind of flavor. I need to add some salt. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon. I'm going to test it once I mix it, just to make sure the seasoning is correct. Now you can marinate this for about 20 or 30 minutes. Don't marinate it too long because you don't want all the water coming out from the onions, and that's going to make the meat very soggy, and it's going to be difficult to mold it. I like to cook it on a really hot cast iron pan, but you can also do it on a non-stick pan, or you can even grill it outside. That's even better. This is now very well incorporated. I'm just going to let it sit for a couple of minutes. So now we're going to make the kebabs. I have some skewers here. They've been soaking in water for the past 30 minutes. So you just want to soak them just in case you put it on a very hot pan, and then you don't want it to catch fire basically. So you see how that looks? It's supposed to look like that. You want some green, some freshness. You've got the onions. The onions is going to really tenderize the meat, make it soft and delicious. And then you've got some seasoning, some chaat masala and salt. So I'm going to heat up my pan. Make sure it's nice and hot. It's like a medium flame. I've got a cast iron pan, so that's going to get really nice and hot. It'll make sure that the heat is distributed evenly. So I'm going to let that heat up a little bit, and then I'm going to do a taste test. It's always very important whenever you marinate something, especially if it's ground meat or chicken pieces. Just take 1 piece or 1 ball of the ground meat and put it in there and taste it. Taste it for seasoning. That's a great tip, because you don't want to take that time and put in all the effort to make everything and then realize, oh my God, this doesn't taste the way it's supposed to. It needs a little more salt, a little more seasoning. So always put all that seasoning in the marinade and give it a taste first, and then adjust accordingly if you need to add more salt. So I'm just going to add a little bit of oil and do 1 taste test. It's just going to be a small little meatball. It needs to brown a little more. There's Layla. Layla's back. Hello, Layla. Do you smell all the food? I'm going to taste it now. Look. Let's taste it. It's really good. However, it needs a little bit of salt. So I'm going to add some salt. I'm going to mix it all together and put it together. I'm going to add 1 more spoon of salt. And now I'm going to mix it and make my kebabs. Kebabs taste really good when it has a tang to it. So what I'm doing, I'm not going to put the lime or anything tangy in the meat when I marinate it. Instead, I've got some vinegar right here. It's just plain distilled vinegar. So this vinegar is going to give it some tang when I mold it, and also it's going to avoid the meat sticking on my hand. So what I do is just tap my fingers in there and then take the meat and mold it around the skewer. Now again, if it's easier for you just to cook it without the skewers, that's fine too. You don't have to use the skewers. Try to keep them all the same size so that it cooks evenly and all together. Now with these kebabs, I'm also today going to serve a fresh salad. It goes really well with this, and also some cilantro chutney. So I'll show you how to make that as well. So we have 11 kebabs with this, 1 pound of meat. Of course, you can make more if you make them smaller, but I got 11. Now I'm going to cook it. Always make sure you wash your hands really well after you work with raw meat. There we go. My pan is nice and hot. I turned it on when I did the taste test. So the pan is hot, it's ready to go. I'm going to add a little bit of oil. I'm using avocado oil, but you can use vegetable oil, you can use ghee, you can use coconut oil. They all are delicious. And you don't want to overcrowd your pan. So I might just put about 5 or 6 kebabs in here and let it cook really well. Let's first put the skewers in. Ooh, you hear that? That sizzle is perfect. There you go. I've got about 4 of them in here. I'm not going to put any more because I don't want to overcrowd it. So now, while the lamb kebabs are cooking, I'm going to make a quick salad that's going to go great with the lamb kebabs. So I've got some fresh cucumber. It's English cucumber that I have washed and ready. Okay, so we're going to cut the cucumber in half, then again another half lengthwise. Of course, you can cut it however you like, but this is how I like to cut it, and just thin slices. I'm going to put it in a bowl. I hear the kebabs calling my name, so let's check on this. Be gentle. You don't want it falling apart. Oh, do you see that? It's perfect. It's a perfect golden brown. Look at that. So I'm going to let that cook on that side and then just keep flipping it so it cooks evenly on all sides and gives it a nice, delicious golden brown. So now we have already chopped the cucumber. I'm going to now cut a few tomatoes, fresh Roma tomatoes. I love Roma tomatoes, so that's what I use, but you can use any tomato you like. You can even use cherry tomatoes and just cut it into half. Okay, so I'm going to slice these just like how I sliced my cucumber, so they all look the same. Okay. All right, so I've got 2 tomatoes, 1 cucumber. You can always add more tomatoes if you like tomatoes. I'm going to cut probably half an onion, a red onion. Okay, so I slice that vertically into half, and now I'm just going to do half like moon discs, just like the other one. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Some fresh cucumber, tomatoes, red onions. And then I'm going to drizzle it with some fresh lime juice and also put some cilantro. So I'm going to squeeze probably just half of a lime. Now when I'm not cooking the cilantro. Then, and if I'm only using it for garnish, I just like to use the top part, not the stems, because you don't want that coming in your mouth when it's too hard. So the leaves are very delicate, so I like to use only the leaves for garnish. I'm going to put this on top as well. It smells so fresh. It's a perfect side with the lamb kebabs. Now I'm going to add a little bit of chaat masala, just like a pinch, just to give it that extra flavor, and blend it in with the kebabs. I'm going to add some salt, 1 teaspoon of salt. And I also have my spice box here, my handy dandy spice box. I'm going to put a little bit of cumin just to give it that smokiness, just like a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin. I'm going to mix it, taste it. If I want more, I can always add more. And let me tell you, this goes so good with lamb kebabs. It's just so refreshing to have that crunch, that bite. I'm going to give it a taste. Really good, very refreshing. Perfect side with your lamb, with your soft lamb. Okay, so now let's look at the lamb. I'm going to keep turning it around so it cooks evenly on all sides. Well, look at that color, my goodness. It is so good. Just by touching it, I can tell how soft it is. We have the lamb kebabs ready. We've got a nice salad to go with it. And now I'm going to make some chutney. It's a cilantro chutney, very popular in India. We make it all the time and it goes great with kebabs or any meatballs. I'm going to get my favorite blender. And you want this chutney really smooth. So make sure you have a blender that chops and blends really well. For the chutney, for the cilantro chutney, of course, we're going to use cilantro, lots of cilantro. I've got 1 full bundle of cilantro. And because I'm going to whisk this up in the blender, I'm going to use the stem as well, because that's where all the flavor is. I'm going to just chop it roughly. I'm going to put this in here. Actually, before I put the cilantro, I'm also going to put a tomato. So I'm going to put the tomato in first. That way it helps mix everything together, because I don't want the leaves of the cilantro to get stuck in the blade. So it just helps it when there's something else other than the cilantro at the bottom first. Just roughly chop that. So 1 tomato, a bunch of cilantro, 1 bunch of cilantro. We have 3 cloves of, actually I'm going to only put 2 cloves of garlic to start with. And if I need more, I will add more. I've got 1 ginger. Just peel off the skin. It's just a small piece of ginger. Okay, put some lime, some salt. I'm going to put, say, 1/2 teaspoon of salt to get started. And then I'm going to taste it. And a little bit, a 1/4 teaspoon of chaat masala. Do you know what the secret is to making sure any greens stay bright and green? Some cold ice. That cold is going to keep the flavors and also the color very vibrant, because when you blend something in a blender, there's heat generated and that heat discolors anything green. But if you put ice, that's going to make it nice and bright and keep the bright, vibrant colors. Okay, so I'm going to put ice, and I'm also going to put a little bit of water just to get it all going. All right, let's see how it looks. It smells so fresh. Look at that. Beautiful green cilantro chutney. This tastes really good, but there's one thing missing for me, and you can omit it if you like, but I didn't put any chilies. So if you like it a little spicy and you want a kick, just add a couple of chilies. So I'm going to add some chilies and then whiz it up again. And my lamb kebabs, looks like they're almost done. So I'm going to flip it one more time. They look perfectly done, so I'm going to turn it off now. And I'm going to plate it, put it in a plate, and let it rest. Look at that. That looks so good. Let's finish up with the chutney. So I just added some chilies. I'm going to give it another quick try. So good, so good. So now I'm going to just drizzle a little bit of the chutney on top. Of course, you can also put some on the side, so you can dip the kebabs in it. So I just added some fresh cilantro just to garnish on top. We've already got the cilantro chutney, so I don't want to add too much cilantro on top. Otherwise, it's going to overpower the flavor. But that chutney is going to make it really pop. I've got some salad on the side. Okay, let's try it. Oh my God, that is so flavorful. It's so juicy. You can taste the onions, the garlic, the cilantro. It's absolutely delicious. Please try it. I would love to know what you think. Now I'm going to try some salad. It gives it that freshness. The meat, vegetables, the tang, the spice. Please give it a try. Let me know what you think. Make any recommendations that you would like me to cook next time. And please follow me, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Wow. This is the perfect game day food. Lamb kebabs.